partner at Tenet, Europe's first inception stage investment firm dedicated to, hold on, AI rollups. They launched last week and have already made one investment. He's also the curator of AI Rollup Nexus, the world's leading public repository for AI rollup resources. Go and subscribe right away. Sahil brings a unique builder investor lens to the table. He spent 5 years at BCG leading digital transformations, helped scale Swiggy into a decacorn, and he spent the last 5 years in the London venture ecosystem across seed and growth. So, welcome to the podcast, Sahil.
Thank you, Andreas. It's a pleasure to be here.
I'm so happy that you've announced this now. You're out of the woodworks with it, because I've been waiting to see what will be the thing you bring to the European ecosystem, and I'm so happy you're bringing this. You're also doing it with one friend of mine and two people I don't know yet, but I'm looking forward to get to know. Tell me a bit about who are the people behind Tenet.
Yeah, thanks, Andreas. It's a real pleasure to be building this with some rockstar investors. So our first partner, Martin, he was a partner at Berlin-based pre-seed seed fund Cavalry Ventures, and brings a lot of very complementary networks from the tech ecosystem. Our second partner, Alex, comes from Clearsight Investments. This is a Zurich-based buy and build micro PE shop, where he himself has managed 90 acquisitions across 9 platforms. So he's the go-to guy for anything related to M&A or corporate finance or integration. Our third partner, Simon, is also our COO, and he spent many years across different VC funds, doing investor relations, investment operations, and platform. But most importantly, he's had the unique pleasure of being on the EUVC podcast before as a guest.
Multiple times, I think twice. Simon is a good friend, and I can tell
Wow.
that anyone that's raising capital out there, you can go and learn a bit from Simon, because he's a machine when it comes to fundraising.
He's phenomenal. And our founding chairman, Igor, he is the founder of Delin Capital, and he spent several decades backing some of the most phenomenal tech successes, and also owns and operates several real world operating businesses like logistics. So he brings very complementary perspectives to our team. It's actually quite funny. We all come from very different worlds, PE, VC, growth, operations, but we all came to the same conclusion independently that AI Pro or AI rollups are the opportunity defining the next decade for Europe.
Yeah.
And of course, it would be remiss of me to not mention our advisory team. So we are being guided by some true pioneers of AI rollups in Europe, like the founders of Zinco, Buena, and RPO, and super excited to be building this with them.
Yeah, it is a rockstar team. Tell me, like, because I want to talk a bit about the opportunity here. I think it's one of the really big ones in the market. I'm kind of describing it, and correct me if I'm wrong here, but the way I am thinking about it is that the first era of tech allowed some small portion of the Mittelstand companies of the existing business community, the incumbents, to be taken by storm and then be built huge platforms that of course are the tech behemoths that we know today. And now I think that we're at the dawn of a new era where the next step is that tech is going to take over a lot of the lower end, the small cap of SME, because SME doesn't have to be non-tech enabled anymore. There are many places where it can actually be run with a bit of a platform play instead of that very localized offering. Is that also kind of similar to what you're thinking? Tell me about that AI Pro, as you called it.
That's very well put. I'm going to borrow some of this wording for my future conversations, Andreas. But yes, we call this AI Pro, which stands for AI powered rollouts. And the thesis is honestly very simple. We know that AI can already do almost 50% of all knowledge work out there. Uh, and when you put this together with white collar services businesses, which are low margin and they scale slowly, AI can use them to transform them from sleepy businesses to companies that operate and scale at software like margins and software like pace. And that's what we want to do. I think in a lot of industries, like the ones you called out, and especially in SMB, it's better to sell services powered by AI rather than trying to sell AI software as SaaS.
I think that's a very good point. And it's of course also what everyone's talking about. The question is, are things going to play out in a normal startup world with normal startup financing and a normal startup trajectory, or are we going to see a lot of these roll-ups where it's a bit of a more of a acquisition strategy? I would love to ask you, and this, let me put some context to this. So we are seeing the exact same thing. We are looking very much at the search funds part from our side. We are building together with a good friend of ours called Wilmondo Taylor, uh, a podcast dedicated to what we call corporate SKPs that are just tired of the grind and want to get out there and build something themselves, but to whom a startup journey is not exactly what they're looking for. They have achieved their career, they've shown that they can make money, and that they work well in a bigger system, so to say. Now they want to go out, and then our point is that, well, you can actually raise financing to buy an SME, what you call the sleepy business. Sometimes it is a bit of
Yeah.
a sleepy business. Sometimes it's full of genuinely powerful people, but it's just it hasn't gotten the ownership, needs a new step, so to say. And that's of course where you get into the search fund business as well. So we're building a podcast dedicated to that, a community dedicated to it. We're doing a summit dedicated to it later this year as well. So we're
That's so
seeing the exact
exciting.
same thing. My question to you is then, why are you not a search fund?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a very, very interesting question. And we know that some really good work is being done out there by ETA or search fund professionals. What we are doing is looks like search funds sometimes, but it's different. What we are underwriting is not buying a business and running it slightly better. What we're underwriting is fundamentally transforming industries using AI. And when you apply that lens, you realize that search funds and private equity, micro PE, have their limitations in terms of capital. Just in terms of a very one-on-one, when you try to do a search, you effectively get a pool of capital from some people, use that, and then layer debt on, and then all of that capital goes into buying one business, maybe doing a few tuck-in acquisitions, operating it slightly better, trying to get synergies, improve margins a little bit, and then sell that entire business at a higher EBITDA multiple, right? The search fund model works very well for what I just described, but it does not provide enough flexibility to invest in building a technology platform, to invest in actually driving transformation, to invest in change management. And if you step back and think about it, these are the three things that are actually value drivers in the AI Pro model. So we we don't, while there is a business of buying small businesses, the key value there is actually transforming it from like a 5-10% margin business into a 30-40% margin business using AI. And so it's fundamentally different and at a mismatch when it comes to search fund. Sure, at some point in time, some of these businesses might scale like how micro PE businesses scale. Uh, Better profile of scaling, but still similar. But they also could just end up transforming the whole industry. And so they might end up scaling more of the VC way.
Yeah. Yeah, and I was just about to ask you to maybe describe it a little bit, the profile of a company that you would invest in. Because
Mm-hmm.
you're okay, it's VC in the taste that it's startups. Then it's VC in the taste that a lot of the funding goes into building the tech platform. But
Yeah.
then where diverges from normal VC is that it very quickly goes into a roll-up play, meaning acquiring existing businesses. Talk a bit about that, the mix, the size of tickets you end up doing in this type of play, the type of companies that you're sourcing. Where are you sourcing them from? Is it, as I when we spoke the first time around, I said, so maybe you're fishing a lot in the declined portfolio of a lot of VCs. And I said, well, yes and no. So maybe you can
Mm-hmm.
talk a bit about where you fit in this and how you put together your investment strategy.
Yeah. So we typically are inception investors, which means we are first check in. And what do we invest in? We invest in founders who understand technology very well, who understand how robust AI applications can be built and implemented, and are passionate about transforming some industry and some geography, right? Our typical first check is around 5 million euros, and with that money, the founders would go on and build a technology platform that can automate a lot of the work of any industry. Let's take tax advisory as an example because that's where our first investment is, and then go out and acquire businesses in that particular industry, use the technology platform to improve the operations by multiple times. So actually automate 50-60% of the COGS, the core work, and then do more acquisitions to scale. In some cases, after doing a couple of acquisitions, they could actually also just grow organically because they're providing much better, faster, and sometimes cheaper service. They might actually be able to break the molds of distribution and scale in a very capital efficient way. If not, the base case is that you can still continue buying businesses, transforming them, and then scaling that way.
Let me ask you one question. It is notoriously difficult to integrate businesses. How, and that might, I think, to many be the, well, what will happen to an SME when they get acquired by some young guys in London? Like, can you talk a
Mm-hmm.
bit about why the model actually works, or how you figured out that you can make it work despite
Yeah.
having this inherent conflict in the model?
Yeah, it's what you said really resonates with me because I spent a big part of my career just driving change management. I had different titles, but at the core of it, what I was doing was change management. I spent 5 years at BCG doing digital transformation, largely change management. I tried to build a grocery delivery business at Swiggy. For the longest time, we were trying to do change management at within the grocery store owners. At some point in time, we decided this is not working, and so we pivoted into a dark store model. But that's a different story. So change management is crucial, and for us, the number one variable in this equation is just empathy. So we we back founders who have respect for what has already happened in the companies that they've bought, who understand how people are motivated, what gets them excited, what does not get them excited, rather than forcing change management down their shirts. We want to drive change management in a way that is actually helpful to everyone. So for us, founder empathy is a very important equation. But what we also realized is that a lot of cases, SMBs are not just under digitized because they don't have the tools. In many cases, they're under digitized because no one has really helped them use those tools. In the SaaS world, it was very difficult because I had to change my behaviors and like enter data from here and there, convert unstructured data to structured. In the AI world, there are ways to use and build good products to actually drive this much easier. Because now I am not changing my own way as someone who's been working at an SMB for 50 years. I'm not changing how I do things. Things are happening based on how I've always done them. They're just happening better. So good product design is the other part of the equation, which is why I don't think this is something that you can just go out and do in any industry. You need thoughtful, empathetic product first founders who can do this.
Can you tell me a bit about what does a really great founder look like for you here?
Mhm.
Is there any prototype founder?
Yeah, I'm gonna talk about founding skills because it's possible that one person has them all. It's possible that sometimes three, four people in the founding team
Yeah.
have them. But what are some of the qualities that we look for, right? I already mentioned empathy, and I cannot emphasize that enough. We want founders who have empathy, who've done operations before, who've taken their companies through messy situations, and so know what it's like to bring people along, especially when things are not going well. Uh, we are looking for founders who are truly AI native. And when I say AI native, it's not just using ChatGPT to polish your messages, right? Who really know, who have like Claude Cowork or code running in the background at all times, who really know how to 4 or 5 times the productivity using AI. We want good AI application engineers, not necessarily AI scientists, but people who can use the Lego blocks that OpenAI and Claude and all the other open source models have, and build good products. And finally, it is great to have someone on the team who has had experience with M&A corporate finance and knows how this world moves. The M&A part, I think, is something that is learnable, and I've seen founders ramp up on some of these things very, very well. But it is a skill that you would have to build.
Now, let's jump to something super practical. Let's look at your first investment. You've invested in TaxForce already, so tell everyone
Yeah.
about that.
Yeah, actually, TaxForce is a great case study for our thesis. First of all, phenomenal founders. Caspar has spent time at Francisco Partners and Goldman Sachs. He built his own business in Brazil called Rapido, and also led the US business for Lendable. So brings a lot of operational expertise and M&A expertise. The second co-founder, Burkhard, is just a tech genius. He was a VP of engineering at Klarna, and I'm sure you've heard of this. Klarna at one point in time replaced and ripped some of their SaaS tools and replaced them all with a common background and own in-house applications. Burkhard was the guy who led this project, so he really knows how to build products that can actually scale in robust ways. And the third co-founder, Matthias, actually brings domain expertise. He was a tax advisor, and so really knows the ins and outs of this industry. Tax advisor is a very interesting industry. We were having a discussion last week with the team, and we concluded that at least 50%, if not 70%, of all the work that a tax advisor does can be automated with AI as we know it today. We don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. It might actually be even higher. And what this means is that tax advisors free up a lot of their time to actually focus on the human elements. So, building relationships with clients, spending time with them, actually giving advice, giving judgments in sticky situations. Some of these things a tax advisor is now free to do as compared to admin. And in the German tax advisors space, which is where TaxForce operates, this is very important because it's facing a big talent shortage. In Germany, it takes around 7 8 years of studies and exams to actually become a qualified tax advisor, which means a lot of young people don't really want to do that, and there is a big shortage of people. And what's happening as a result is a lot of existing tax advisory firms have to take down their website or take off their contact details and actively refuse business. Now imagine if this tax advisor can now operate at 3 4 times their capacity. There is so much potential to grow organically because there is business just waiting on their doors, and that's what we want to unlock.
Yeah. Sahil, thank you so much, man. This is so exciting. I think, well, taxes can never be exciting, but it's as exciting as it
As
can be.
exciting as it gets.
Tell me, before we close, anything you want to say to the people that are tuning in today?
Yeah, thank you for listening to us so patiently. I hope you enjoy the conversation. If you are ever thinking of building an AI rollup or already building an AI rollup, we would love to talk to you. So please reach out to me or the rest of the Tenet team. We are always excited to chat more.
Yeah, so exciting. Sahil, massive congrats on everything. I think you're incredible and you'll do so much important stuff here in Europe. Thank you, buddy.